If you're broke, this one decision changes everything. Most people think becoming wealthy requires a massive windfall or a lucky break, but the truth is far more boring and accessible. If you are broke, you are likely suffering from a decision-making bias that keeps you stuck in a cycle of poverty. And today, I am going to show you how a single $10 strategy can snap that cycle forever. Financial struggle is rarely a lack of intelligence. It is a lack of systems. When you have no money, your brain enters what psychologists call scarcity mode. Your cognitive bandwidth narrows. You stop making long-term bets because you are obsessed with short-term survival. This is why poor people buy lottery tickets while rich people buy index funds. The lottery offers an immediate, albeit impossible, escape. The index fund offers a boring, guaranteed path to wealth. Let's talk about the $10 strategy. It is not about saving $10 on your coffee. It is about the principle of fractional asset acquisition. In 1974, a man named Burton Malkiel published A Random Walk Down Wall Street. He argued that it is nearly impossible for individual investors to beat the market consistently. He proposed a simple solution: buy the whole market. For decades, this was reserved for the wealthy. You needed thousands of dollars to open a brokerage account or buy high-performing mutual funds. But today, thanks to the democratization of fintech, you can start with $10. Here is the strategy. You treat your $10 not as an expense, but as a seed. You put that $10 into a low-cost S&P 500 ETF. If you do this once a week, you have invested $520 in a year. That sounds small, but here is where the math starts to hurt your brain. If you take $520 a year and invest it at an average annual return of 10%, which is the historical average of the S&P 500 since its inception in 1957, something magical happens. In year 10, you have about $9,000. That is not life-changing. But in year 30, you have over $100,000. In year 40, you have nearly $300,000. Most people quit in year 2 because they don't see the result. They look at their account, they see an extra $40 in growth, and they feel foolish. They think, this $10 isn't doing anything. But that is the wrong lens. You aren't investing for the growth. You are investing to rewire your identity. When you hold an asset, you stop being a consumer. You become an owner. The moment that $10 leaves your checking account and enters an investment account, you have signaled to yourself that your future self is more important than your present cravings. This is the psychological threshold that separates the broke from the wealthy. Let's look at the data on poverty traps. A study by the University of Chicago found that when people in poverty are given a small buffer of cash, their IQ scores effectively rise by 13 points. Why? Because they aren't wasting mental energy on how to pay the phone bill tomorrow. By automating your $10 contribution, you are creating a microscopic version of that buffer. You are removing the friction of choice. The biggest mistake people make when they are broke is waiting for a surplus. They think, I will start investing when I have an extra $100. But life is a series of inflating expenses. If you wait for a surplus, you will never invest. You have to build the habit when the surplus doesn't exist. You have to treat the $10 like a tax you owe yourself. Think about the most successful companies in the world today: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. They didn't start by trying to maximize profit. They started by maximizing utility and compounding their influence. You are the company. If you don't reinvest in yourself or your assets, you go bankrupt. It is that simple. Now, let's address the skeptics. You will say, $10 won't make me a millionaire. You are right, but $10 will prevent you from being a person who doesn't invest. It is the bridge. Once you master the habit of $10, you eventually scale to 20, then 50, then 100. I want you to look at your bank statement from the last 30 days. How much money leaked out of your pocket on things that provided no long-term value? A subscription you forgot to cancel, an impulse purchase at the grocery store, a convenience fee for a delivery service. Those small leaks are the reason you are broke. They are not just money, they are missed opportunities for compound interest. If you redirect those leaks into an investment, you aren't just saving money, you are buying your future time. Time is the only asset you cannot produce more of. Wealth is simply stored time. Every dollar you invest is a unit of your labor that you have frozen in time, allowing it to work for you while you sleep. Consider the history of the Roth IRA, introduced in the Taxpayer Relief Act of 1997. It allowed people to invest after-tax dollars and let them grow tax-free for the rest of their lives. If you had started putting $10 a week into a Roth IRA in 1998, that money would have grown entirely free of government interference. The tax code is literally begging you to get rich, but you are too busy consuming to notice. There is a concept in behavioral economics called the present bias. We value a dollar today much more than a dollar tomorrow. But when you are broke, you are suffering from a distorted version of this. You value a dollar today as if it were a survival tool, when in reality, it is just a ticket to more consumption. Change the narrative. Stop looking at your bank account as a gauge of what you can spend. Start looking at your net worth as a gauge of what you can build. The $10 strategy isn't about the math, it is about the decision. The decision to stop being a passive recipient of your circumstances and to become an active architect of your reality. You don't need a high-paying job to start this. You don't need a degree. You need $10 and the discipline to press the buy button every single week without fail. Most people will watch this, agree with the logic, and do absolutely nothing. They will tell themselves they need to get their finances in order first. They will wait for a promotion, a tax refund, or a bonus. And 5 years from now, they will be in the exact same position, wondering why they never got ahead. Be the exception. Open a brokerage account today. It takes 10 minutes. Set up an automatic transfer. Forget about it. Let the market do the heavy lifting while you focus on increasing your income. The goal isn't to get rich quick. The goal is to ensure that, eventually, you cannot stay poor. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. It is the only force in the universe that turns small, consistent actions into massive, life-altering outcomes. When you are broke, you feel like the walls are closing in, but every $10 investment you make is a brick you are removing from that wall. Keep removing them long enough, and you will find yourself in an entirely different room. The barrier to entry for wealth has never been lower, yet the barrier to entry for stupidity has never been higher. You are constantly bombarded with ads, social media influencers, and dopamine-inducing triggers designed to keep you broke. Your survival depends on your ability to opt out of that system. When you invest that $10, you are essentially buying a ticket to a future where you don't have to work for money. You are telling the world that you understand how the game is played. You are no longer the product, you are the player. Do not underestimate the power of starting small. Small steps, consistently taken, cover more distance than large steps taken irregularly. If you run a marathon, you don't sprint at the start. You find a pace. Investing is a marathon. Your $10 is your pace. There is a famous experiment called the marshmallow test. Children were offered one treat now or two treats if they waited. The ones who waited achieved significantly higher success in life. The $10 strategy is the adult version of the marshmallow test. The world is offering you a sugary, fleeting hit of satisfaction right now. It is in your hands, tempting you. Your job, if you want a different life, is to put the marshmallow down and invest it instead. If you don't change the decision today, you are choosing your current state for tomorrow. Every day you wake up and don't change your financial strategy, you are voting for your current life. You are saying, I am okay with this. If you are not okay with this, you must change the input. Start today, not tomorrow, not when you get that raise, not when you feel more comfortable. Today. A $10 investment is the cheapest form of freedom you will ever purchase. What will you choose when the next $10 lands in your hand? Will you consume it or will you plant it? The answer to that question is the difference between a life of struggle and a life of design. Choose wisely, because your future self is waiting for you to make the right move.